And online people, can you please confirm my voice is audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay. So in the last session, we discussed about set operators. So as part of discussing set operators, we discussed about union and union or. Then we discussed about intersect and we discussed about minus operator. So when we need to go for set operators?
When you need tables in vertical
to combine data between multiple tables in which direction, vertical or horizontal? In vertical direction, we need to go for the set operators. So when we need to go for union? To get all the records from both the tables, we can go for union operator. What about intersect? To get only matched records in between both the tables, we need to go for intersect. What about minus operator? To get unmatched records only from first table or first query. So if you want to get unmatched records only from the first table or from the first query, then we need to go for the minus operator. What is the importance of minus operator in the real-time projects?
Validation.
For validations as a tester or as a developer? As a tester and as a developer also. But as a developer, when we are going to use this? As part of our unit testing. So while you are doing the unit testing as a developer, we are going to use the minus operator. But tell me, whenever you are using the minus operator, compulsory what validations we need to perform? Source query.
Both ways we need to source query to minus target and target to minus.
So you need to perform target query minus source query. So both are compulsory we need to perform, and both queries should have to give output as. If you want to say everything is looking fine into the target table, then both queries should have to give output as 0 records. If it is given the 0 records, then only we can able to ensure that in our target table everything loaded properly. And now, as a tester or as a developer, generally if you want to perform the validations, we are going to use the operator called as a minus operator. Okay. Now today we'll start discussing some new topics. And before that, just I want to discuss one example here. Now, for example, so this is the table we are having. In this table, we are having the data like this. So I'm having the values are 1, 2, 3, employee ID, employee name, department ID, country values. Now my requirement is I want to populate data for employee ID column, and also I want to populate data for department name column. Now in this table, do we have any column called as a department name? No. But here I am given the requirement for the department name column like this only. What is the requirement of the department name column? If DID is equal to 10, then I want to populate value as XX. If it is 20, I want to populate the value as YY. If it is 30, then I want to populate the value as a ZZ. This is the requirement. By applying this whole requirement, I want to populate the data into the column called as a DName column. Now, to achieve this requirement, how we can able to frame the query? Already we discussed the same example in the previous class also, and that's the reason. Just I want to quickly recap that. On top of that, we are going to discuss some other topic. So to achieve this requirement, how we need to prepare the query by depending on the topics already which we covered.
Select DID.
How many of you did the practice for all these queries? Everyone? Okay, good. Then tell me how we need to frame the query here. So as per the requirement, in how many categories we need to divide the data? DID 10, one category. DID 20, one more category. DID 30, one more category. So for that, just I'm giving it as a select DID, comma, DName from employee table where DID is equal to 10. But tell me, is it the correct query? If I'm going to run this query, what will happen? This query will throw the syntax error because in the employee table, we don't have any column called as a DName column. For that reason, this query will throw the syntax error. Now, what's the change we have to perform here? If it is 10 in the DName, what data you want to populate as per the requirement? I want to populate the value as a XS. So if you want to give any hardcode values, you can give it as a XS in single quote. I'm giving alias name as a department name. Okay. Now this is for first category. What about the second category?
With DID equal
DID, comma, YY as DName from employee table. Here I'm given the condition as a where department ID is equal to 20. Now next one, next category. Same query, just I'm given DID is equal to 30. If it is 30, what data I want to populate? I want to populate value as a ZZ. Now, if I'm going to run the individual queries, we are going to get the individual output, but I want to get the combined output, or you want to get the individual output? I want to get the combined output like this. So what we can do here, in between all these queries, simply we can apply the union operator. And if you want to apply the order by class, where we have to apply the order by class?
At the last.
At the end of the query, we need to apply the order by class. I'm giving order by department ID, for example. So this is the way simply we can able to frame the query for the purpose of achieving our requirement. But here, if you observe, how many number of queries we are writing? Overall single query, but within the query we are having where DID is equal to 10 is a one query, where DID is equal to 20 is the one more query, where DID is equal to 30 is the one more query. Like that, we are writing the three different queries. In between all these queries, we are applying the union operator. Now, for the purpose of achieving the same requirement, instead of writing these many number of queries, and what we can do here is you can able to simplify the query by using the statement called as a case statement. So indirectly, we are going to discuss about a new topic called as a case statement. So we can able to say, as per the requirement, if you want to apply multiple conditions to populate different kind of data, or to apply kind of if-else logic, then we can use case statement. It's very simple. First, if you understand the requirement, as per the requirement, if you want to apply the multiple conditions to populate the different set of the data, or to apply kind of if-else logic, then what we can do here, we can able to use the statement called as a case statement. Now coming back to our requirement only. This is the requirement. Now in this requirement, indirectly what kind of logic we are implementing? If department ID is equal to 10, then I want to get output as a XS. If department ID is equal to 20, then I want to get output as a YY. If department ID is equal to 30, then I want to get output as a ZZ. Indirectly, as part of this whole requirement, what kind of logic we are applying? We are applying the kind of the if-else logic only. Now, whenever you want to apply the if-else logic in the SQL side, here we are going to use the statement called as nothing but case statement. With the help of the case statement, we can able to handle if-else kind of logic as per our requirements in our database system. Now here simply we need to understand what is the syntax we need to follow for case statement? It's very simple syntax only. We have to give case when condition 1, then value. In the same way, we can give it as one more condition when if condition 1, then value 1, condition 2, then value 2, when condition 3, then value 3. So like this, we can able to apply any number of conditions by depending on your requirement. Within the single case statement, what we can do here, you can able to apply the multiple number of conditions. What I'm telling here, when condition 1 is going to satisfy, then I want to get the value 1. When condition 2 is going to satisfy, then I want to get the second value. When condition 3 is going to satisfy, then I want to get the third value. Like that, you can able to apply any number of conditions by depending on your requirement. Else, I want to populate, for example, value 4. What is the meaning of else here? If my record is not satisfying the condition 1 or condition 2 or condition 3, then I want to populate one more value called as a value 4, for example. So this is the way simply we can able to understand what is the syntax of the case statement. It's very simple. Case when condition 1, then value 1, second condition, value 2, third condition, value 3. So like this, we can able to apply any number of conditions by depending on our requirement. Now see, for example, for this requirement, now you try to give the answer as per the syntax, how we need to frame the case statement. Case, what is the first condition? When department ID is equal to 10, then what you want to populate? I want to populate value as a XX. So now XX is a kind of a varchar and integer. It's a varchar value. So what we have to do? We have to give the single code XX. Okay. This is for first condition. Now what is the second condition? When DID is equal to 20, then I want to populate value as a YY. Now next one, when DID is equal to 30, then I want to populate value as a ZZ. So like this, instead of writing the 3 different queries, and what we can do here, in the single case statement, you can able to apply the multiple conditions and you can able to apply the multiple values by depending on the requirement. So actually every case statement we need to end by using the end keyword. So this is the starting point, this is the ending point. In between, we are applying all our when conditions and we are applying the then values only. Now coming to this example, we are giving case when if it is 10, XX. If it is 20, we need to populate value as a YY. If it is 30, we need to populate the value as a ZZ. Now you tell me, as part of this requirement, do we need to give any else statement? For 10 XX, 20 YY, 30 ZZ, we don't have any requirement. If it is not 10, 20, 30, I want to populate some other value. I don't have any such kind of requirement. Whenever you don't have any such kind of requirement, you can able to ignore the else value. But we need to close the case statement by using which keyword? We need to compulsory close this by using the end statement. So this is the way, simply by using the case statement, you can able to handle the multiple conditions to populate the different type of the value, or we can able to say to handle if-else kind of logic in the SQL queries. What we can do here, we are going to implement the case statement. With the help of the case statement, you can able to frame the queries like this. But tell me, this whole case statement we have written for which column? To populate data for which column we have written this whole case statement? This is the requirement for dname column. So what I can do here, simply I can give a last name as dname. Earlier, if you remember, we discussed about I'm giving sum of sal, but I want to populate the column name as a total underscore sal. What is the function we are using? Sum function. But for this sum function, what is the last name I'm giving? Total sal. In the same way, here we are using the case statement. By using the case statement, you are deriving some data. After deriving the data, you want to populate the column name as a department name column. So what we can do here, after writing the complete case statement, here just we can give the alias name is nothing but as department name. Okay. But tell me, is it the complete query? In our example, if you want to write the complete query, we have to give it as select department ID, comma. Then we need to pass this entire case statement. Then from employee table. So this is the way in the single query we can able to achieve the requirement. Just I will copy the same query in the Excel sheet.
Sir, in select statement, it's EAD.
Yeah, 1 second, I will not. Yeah, sorry, I did say EAD column. It's my mistake actually. Yeah, here also I think we have to put it as EAD only. As per the requirement, I want to populate data for EAD column. So what we have to do here in the select statement, we need to give the EAD column. So this is the way simply we can able to frame the query. But tell me here, already we can able to achieve the requirement by using this query. Then why we are going for this option? It's very simple. If you are going to this option, what is the advantage? no need to write the multiple queries, no need to apply the multiple union operator. In the single query, you can able to apply in the single query, you can able to achieve the requirement. And here, how many case statements we are applying? We are applying the only single case statement to simplify the query and to understand the query in the easy format. What we can do here, instead of writing the query like this, we can able to achieve the same requirement by using the case statement. This is the way we can able to understand how we can able to use the case statement. At the same time, we can able to understand by using the case statement how we can able to frame the SQL queries. Okay. Any question on top of this query, please ask me here. Up to here. Okay. If no questions, I will try to run this query and we'll see. So for example, this is the table we are having. We are having the DID column 10, 20, 30, and 40. I will run the same query as it is. See what's happening? Wherever we are having 10, we are getting the value as a XX. Wherever we are having 20, we are getting the values as a YY. Wherever we are having 30, we are getting the values as a ZZ. But tell me, coming to 40, why we are getting it as a null value? What is the reason? In our SQL query, which conditions we handle? If it is 10, get some value. If it is 20, get some value. If it is 30, get some value. But if it is other than 10, 20, and 30, are we giving any input to the query? No, right? You haven't defined any other conditions except the 10, 20, 30. And for that reason, if we are getting any other kind of conditions in the dname column, then automatically what's happening here? It is populating the value called as a null value. Now, for example, my requirement is other than 10, 20, and 30, if we are getting any other values, I don't want to get the null. I want to populate some dummy value. Then what we can do?
Else
Same way,
else
we can apply the else statement.
else.
Else, I want to populate it as a dummy. Whatever the other values we are getting, except the 10, 20, 30, for all those values, I want to populate the value as a dummy value only. So this is the way I want to get the data. See what's happening? Instead of getting the null, now we are getting the output as a dummy. What is the meaning of else? Except 10, 20, 30, whatever the remaining values we are having in the DID column, for all those values, I want to populate the value as a dummy only. So for that reason, just we have added the else statement. By depending on the requirement, either we can able to skip the else statement or we can able to include the else statement. In this example, we skipped the else statement. Because of skipping the else statement, what's happening? Except 10, 20, and 30, whatever the remaining values we are having, for all those values, we are getting output as a null. But in this query, we are applying the else statement. What is the meaning of else? Except 10, 20, 30, we are having the 40 value. Wherever we are having the 40, what is happening here? We are getting the respective values as a dummy. So this is the way simply we can able to understand how we can able to use the case statement for the applying the multiple conditions to populate the multiple values. In the simple words, if you want to understand what we can able to say, when we need to go for case statement, whenever you want to implement kind of if-else logic in the SQL side, then what we can do here, we can able to apply the case statement like this. By using the case statement, we can able to write the queries as per our requirement. Is it clear? Okay. Now see, for example, just I'm inserting one record into this table for one example, to cover one example.
In is not there.
Okay, now see here, this is the data we are having in the table. Just I added one extra record to cover one example only. Now I am going to frame the query like this. Select EAD comma sal plus commission as total sal from employee underscore main table. Now you try to give the answer. If I am going to run this query, first question, how many records we are going to get? Second question, what is the data we are going to get? It's very simple query only. I'm giving the EAD column, salary plus
And
commission as
total
total salary from employee table. What is going to happen? It will
Two
give
records.
all the
7
records.
records,
First
7.
thing, it will give total 7 records on top of your output screen. But for those 7 records, what is the data we are going to get? Just we'll see. For EAD, total salary, we are going to get the two columns in the output, and we are going to get all the 7 records only. But tell me, for the last record, why it is populating it as a null value?
Commission is null.
Here, what is the
So it's
salary?
treated as null.
70,000. What is the commission value we are having? Null. Earlier we discussed only what is the meaning of null?
Garbage.
Null is a unknown value. So if you are given the null, it's a nothing but it's a kind of a unknown value. Whenever we are going to perform the arithmetic operations on top of the null, what is the output we are going to get?
Null.
We are going to get the output as a null only. 70,000 plus null. What is the output? We are going to get output as a null only. That's the reason here first to 6 records we are going to get the total salary properly. But coming to last record, because of having the null value in the commission, we are getting output as a null. Okay. Now my requirement is coming to last record. I don't want to get the null. Here I want to populate this value as a 70,000 as is. For this last record, what is my requirement? I don't want to get the null. Here, I want to perform the addition operation. Even if it is the null, I want to get output as a 70,000. Now you tell me, for 107, is it a valid output? He is getting a salary. How much salary? 70,000. But he is not getting any commission. When he is not getting any commission, what data we need to populate actually? I need to populate at least the salary value, which is nothing but here I want to populate the salary value. But here I am populating it as a null value. For that reason, instead of populating this as a null, what is the data I want to populate here? I want to populate this value as a 70,000. Now you try to give the answer to achieve this requirement. How we need to frame the query? Or before going to the query, any confusion on the requirement side? Requirement is clear, right? Here in the commission, wherever we are having null, if you are performing the arithmetic operation, we are getting output as a null. But I don't want to get the null value here. I want to get the same salary value as is without throwing any kind of null values. That is the requirement. Now try to give the answer. Select EAD. Okay.
Case
Salary. Excel plus
Sorry. Offline people try to give the answer.
SL plus NVL of comma 0.
SL plus NVL of com. But tell me, have we discussed anything about the NVL so far?
NVL, no.
No. So whatever the topics we discussed, based on those, try to give the answer. It's very simple. As per the requirement here, what data you want to populate? I want to populate the value as the same salary values and indirectly in the null value, which value we need to put to get it as a 70,000. Here we are doing the addition operation. 70,000 plus null, we are getting output as a null. But if you don't want to get this null value, instead of null here, what data we need to give? Any guess?
0.
If I'm given the 70,000 plus 0, what will happen? You are getting output as a 70,000. Now indirectly, in this commission column, what is the requirement? Wherever we are having null, with what data we need to populate? We need to populate this value as a 0. What about the remaining values? Remaining values, I want to keep it as is only. Now tell me how we can able to differentiate this information. I want to perform some operation for null. I want to perform some other operation for the not null values only. How to differentiate? Case when commission is equal to null. Tell me, is it the correct condition?
No, is null.
I want to apply the condition on top of the null. What we can do here? We need to give it as a when commission is null, then
0.
0 directly.
Yeah.
Some plus salary plus 0.
Give it as salary plus 0 only. What is the reason? Wherever we are having null values in the commission column, I want to do the addition operation, but you want to addition salary plus 0 because here it is null. So when this condition is going to satisfy, here what will happen? It will take it as a 70,000 plus 0. Okay. Now this is the first condition. Now what is the second condition we need to give?
Else.
Else, or we can give the one more condition as a when.
Else is fine.
If you want, you can give the else condition, or if you want, you can give the one more condition as a when and
When.
what is the second condition we can able to pass? When
Commission is not null.
is not null, then what you want to get?
Commission plus
Salary plus
Salary
commission.
plus
Salary plus
commission. Because if it is a not null in the commission column, if you are having the not null value, I don't have any kind of issues to perform the addition operation. That's the reason directly we can give it as a then salary plus commission. After that,
and
as total sal
from
from employee table. So this is the way simply we can able to frame the query.
Employee main employee.
It's my mistake only. Sorry. Employee underscore main table. So this is the way simply we can able to frame the query. So here actually I'm given the requirement as instead of getting the null, I want to get output as a 70,000. So in the real time also they are not going to give the direct requirements only. Sometimes they are going to give the indirect requirement. Here just I'm given the indirect requirement. What is the indirect requirement? Instead of getting the null, I want to get output as a 70,000. Now you need to understand how you need to get the 70,000. For that reason, I am spending some time to understand the requirement. So what is the meaning of getting the 70,000? Here, instead of null, if you are having the 0 value, then if you are going to perform the addition operation, 70,000 plus 0, automatically what will happen? You can get output as a 70,000. But in this table, how we are going to convert this null to 0? We are going to categorize the data. How we are going to categorize? In the commission column, wherever we are having null, I want to get value as a 0. Wherever we are having not null, I want to get output as a same commission value. Indirectly, we are applying the kind of a if-else logic. And if commission is null, I want to make it as a 0. If commission is not null, I want to populate the same data into the commission column. As per the requirement, indirectly we need to apply the if-else logic. How we can able to apply the if-else logic? By using the case statement. That's the reason here we are writing the case statement like this. What is the syntax of the case? Case when condition 1. What is the condition 1 we are giving here? Commission is null. Then what data you want to populate? If it is null, I want to do the addition operation only, but I want to do the addition with the 0. Salary plus 0 is nothing but you are going to perform the addition whenever commission is null. If it is not null, then what you want to do? You want to do the same addition operation, but with the 0 you want to perform the addition, or with the commission you want to perform the addition? Directly with the commission I want to perform the addition. That's the reason if it is not null, we are giving it as a salary plus commission. After completion of the case statement, we need to give it as a end keyword. For this entire thing, we are giving alias name is nothing but total sal. Then I'm given the from employee main and with this what will happen? First all the 6 records, it is going to the second condition. What about the last record? Last record is falling into first condition. Here it is going to perform the salary plus 0, which is nothing but it is going to perform the 70,000 plus 0. With that, it will give output as a 70,000 on top of your output screen. This is the way you need to understand how we need to analyze the requirement, how we need to understand the requirement. Then we need to understand what type of keywords we need to use in the SQL query. By using all these things, we can able to frame the query like this. Okay. Any question on top of this SQL query, please ask me here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, instead of using when commission is null, then sal plus 0, can we give the else sal? Like, can we frame in this way? Select EID, comma, case when
you can
commission
like
is not null.
Yeah, so someone is saying like this. So for example, I'm giving it as a select EID, comma, case when
commission is not null.
Is not null. Then
sal plus commission. Else sal and as total sal from employment.
If, for example, I'm going to write the query like this. Now, you other people try to give the answer. Is it the correct query or is it the wrong query?
No, it is not the correct.
Case when commission is not null, then I want to get output as a salary plus commission. Else, I want to get direct output as a salary only and as total salary from employee underscore main and just to see the query and try to give the answer. Is it the correct query or wrong query?
Correct, sir. It
will work without throwing any kind of error. At the same time, it will give the same kind of output. What is the reason? You need to classify the data into 2 categories. What are those categories, Andy? Commission is null or commission is not null. Tell me, in a column, at max, what kind of values we are going to maintain? Either null values or we are going to maintain the not null values, Andy. Other than null and not null, do we have any other kind of data in a column? No, right? Either null value or not null value. Only these 2 type of values only we can able to see in a particular column. Now in this query, what we are doing here, we are given the condition as a if commission is not null, then I want to perform the salary plus commission, which is nothing but it is going to satisfy all the first 6 records only. If commission is not null, we are going to perform the salary plus commission. After that, instead of given the condition, I'm given the else statement. What is the meaning of else here? Other than not null, what else values we can able to see in the commission? We can able to see
If
one more
it
type
is
of value
null,
called as a null. Indirectly, instead of given the condition, directly we are applying the else only. Else, I want to get output as a only salary. Now tell me, if you are going to get only salary, what's the value we are going to get? 70,000 only. Otherwise, if you want, what we can do here? If you want to replicate the above query and below query, same. If you want, you can give it as a salary plus 0. Otherwise, if you want, just give it as a sal also. This is the way also we can able to frame the query. Just click on enter. Yeah, it's my mistake. Yeah. Now see here, it's given the same kind of output on top of your output screen, and which is nothing but, don't think that we have to frame the query only in this way, and single query we can able to achieve by using the different approaches by depending on your analytical skills. And I am thinking like this, some other person is thinking like this. Might be if you are having some other kind of thought, you can able to prepare the query in that way also. Don't think that compulsory we have to frame the query like this or like this only, and by applying your analytical skills, you can able to frame the query in the any one of the way. But finally, what need to happen? We need to achieve the requirement. Either you can able to frame the query like this, or you can able to frame the query like this also for the purpose of achieving our requirement. Okay. Any questions so far? Again, please ask me.
Sir, in the previously in the select statement, whatever we want to see columns in the output, we have given those columns in select, right?
Yes.
But in this case statement, we are given, and after end we have given this total cell.
Yeah, after end we are given the total salary, because here what is my requirement? I want to populate data for only 2 columns, and for EAD column directly we are given the EAD column, because this EAD column is present in the employee main table. For that reason, directly we are given the EAD. But this total salary column, do we have this column in the employee main table? No. That's the reason we are applying all this case statement. After applying the complete case statement, what I'm doing here, I'm giving the alias name as a total salary, because as per my requirement in the output, I want to see the column name as a total underscore salary. How we can able to see the column name like this? Just by applying the aliasing. That's the reason I'm giving the aliasing as total underscore sal. With that, you can able to get this column name. In this column, it is applying all this case statement. With that, you are going to get this kind of output in your output screen.
Okay.
Okay. Now see, for example, in the output, I want to get the department ID column also. What we can do here? In the output, I want to get the department ID column also. What we can do? Just you can give the comma and give the DID column, click on it. So what's happening? Whatever the columns you want to populate, only those columns we are giving in the select statement. And here my requirement is I want to get only 2 columns. I'm giving the EAD column, but do we have total salary column in the table? No, that's the reason we are giving the alias name as total underscore sal. For example, my requirement is I want to populate the department ID column also into my output screen. Then what we can do here, just give the comma and add the DID. But like this, by depending on your requirement, whatever the columns you want to populate, we are passing all those columns in the select statement. With that, you can able to populate required number of columns on top of your output screen.
Sir, can we give department ID in the after EID?
Yeah, wherever you want, you can give it. So for example, so someone is asking the question, can I give the department ID column after the EAD column? Can we give it or not?
Yeah.
If I'm giving it as a third column, in the output, what's happening? It is showing this column as a third column. Now, for example, instead of giving it as a third column, I'm giving this column as a second column. So what will happen? Query will execute, but this column will come as a second column. Now, for example, instead of giving it as a second column, I'm giving it as a first column. What will happen? Nothing will happen. And the same output we are going to get, but only thing is nothing but it is changing the order of the columns. Wherever we are given the column name, based on that, in that order only your column names will be displayed on top of your output screen. Is it clear? Okay, nice. Now this is the way simply we can able to understand how we can able to use our case statements. And now in the same way, just I want to give the one more example, try to give the answer. Now see, for example, this is the data we are having in the table. We are having the EAD column, ename column, DID column, and country column. Now in the DID column, we are having some null values. And now my requirement is, while populating the data into my output screen, in this DID column, instead of populating the null values, I want to get output as 100. What is the requirement? Just I will add the requirement for the DID column. Wherever we are having null values for DID, populate it as 100 in output. This is the requirement. Try to give the answer. Without using the case statement, I want to achieve the requirement.
Select DID.
Without using
Select EID,
comma
100 as DID.
Same example we discussed as part of our previous session. Indirectly, this entire data we need to categorize into how many categories? As per the requirement, wherever department ID is null, there I want to get output as a 100. What about remaining values? I want to get the same data, which is nothing but this entire data we need to divide into how many categories? 2 categories. One is department ID is null. Second category is department ID is not null ID. So what we can do here, simply we can give the query like this: select and given the EAD, comma DID from employee table where department ID is null. But tell me, is the correct query? If department ID is null, then in the DID column, what data you want to populate?
100.
I want to populate value as 100. So what we have to do here? We need to give 100 as a hardcode value. I'm giving alias name as a department ID. This query, what it will do? Wherever department ID is null, how many records we are having department in null? 3 records only. For these 3 records, it will give the employee ID. But in the DID, what data it will populate? It will populate value as a 100. Okay. Now, what is the second query? Second category. Select EAD, comma DID from employee table. What is the condition?
Is not
Where
null.
DID is not null. Because here I want to divide the data into 2 categories, and the first one is the null value, second one is the not null value. Now, if I'm going to run only this part of the query, how many records we are going to get?
2.
You are going to get the 2 records. What's the values we are going to pull? EAD 4, 5, and coming to DID, do we have any requirement here? I don't have any requirement. If it is not null, I want to get the same data as it is, and for that reason, we are giving it as a comma department ID. Now, in between both the queries, what we have to apply?
Well,
We need to apply union operator, because first query will give the 3 records, second query will give the 2 records. I want to get the combined output. For that reason, in between both the queries, we are applying the operator called as a union operator. Already we discussed about the same query as part of our previous class, and just I'm repeating. If anyone not understand that query at that point of time, this is the way we can able to frame the query by using our union operator. Now my requirement is, without using union operator, I want to issue the requirement. Same requirement. Without using union operator, I want to achieve the requirement. What we have to do?
Paste.
Indirectly, this is my requirement. Same requirement, if I'm going to modify like this, if department ID is null, then I want to get 100.
as DL.
Else, I want to get output as a department ID. Now tell me, is there any difference between this requirement and this requirement? Requirement wise, both are same only, Andy, but in the real time, what will happen? Sometimes they are going to give the direct requirement or they are going to give the indirect requirement. You need to analyze the requirement. You need to understand the requirement. With that, you need to understand how we need to frame the query. Either for this requirement or this requirement, you can able to frame the query like this. But instead of writing the 2 queries, what we can do here, simply by using the single select statement also, we can able to achieve the requirement, because as per the requirement, indirectly, what kind of logic we need to implement? We need to implement the if-else logic, and indirectly we need to implement the if-else logic. If it is null, populate some data. If it is not null, populate some other kind of data. Indirectly, as per the requirement, we need to implement the kind of if-else logic. How we can able to implement the if-else logic here? Simply by using the case statement. Now you tell me how we can able to frame the query here by using the case statement. Select EAD, comma. What next? Case when
DID
is
null.
null. Then what you want to get?
100.
100. What next? Else.
Else.
What is the meaning of else here? What is the meaning of else? If DID is not null, then I want to get output as the same department ID and as department ID from employee table. So this is the way simply we can able to frame the query. Instead of writing the 2 different queries, and what we can do here, we can able to frame the query by using the single select statement. By using the single case statement, we can able to achieve the requirement. Here just we are following the same syntax, and case when department ID is null, then I want to get output as a 100. Else, what is the meaning of else? If department ID is not null, then I want to get the same department ID. We have to close the case statement with which keyword? With the end keyword, and I'm given the alias name is nothing but as department ID from employee table. This is the way simply we can able to frame the query for the purpose of achieving this whole requirement. Okay. Again, any question on top of this query, please ask me here. And tell me, do we need to frame the query like this only, or can we able to modify the query if you want? For example, someone is going to say, I don't want to apply the else. I will apply the condition as when department ID is not null, department ID. Now tell me, this query and this query both are same or both are different? Both are same only because here I am specifically given the condition when department ID is not null. Here what I am telling, I am given the else statement as we discussed earlier. In a column, what values we can able to see? Either null values or not null values. In the first condition, already we are dealing with the null. In the second condition, we are given the else. What is the meaning of else? Indirectly, it is going to handle all the not null values only. Directly, if you want, we can give it as a else statement. Otherwise, if you want, specifically give the condition when it is not null, then I want to populate the value as a department ID. By depending on your convenience or by depending on your requirement, either you can able to frame the query like this or we can able to frame the query like this also as part of writing our SQL queries. Okay. Any questions still if you are having, please ask me. Is it clear? If it is clear, try to give the answer. As part of this entire example, indirectly what operation we are doing? We are applying the if else logic by using the case statement, or we are writing the query by using the union operator. But here my question is, from the requirement perspective, indirectly what operation we are doing? In the table, what value we are having? Null.
Summarize.
In the output, what value we are getting? 100. Indirectly, what we are doing? We are converting null values to not null values. And if you observe here, in the table, we are having null value. But coming to output, what I'm doing here? I'm converting this value as a 100. 100 is a null value or not null value? It's a not null value. Indirectly, as part of this whole example, we are converting null values to not null values. Will you agree or not? Or any question on the statement? We are converting null values to not null values. Before moving further, just I want to ask one more question, Andy. Tell me, you are changing the data in the table or you are populating this data in the output screen? We are, please remember this statement, Andy. In this example, you are populating the data in the output screen. Now, for example, my requirement is in the table, I want to change the data like this. Within the table, I want to replace all null values with 100. Understand the requirement? Previous requirement, I want to display the data in the output. But now my requirement is in the table, I want to change the data like this. And now tell me what is the query we need to prepare?
We have to use update.
Indirectly, what you want to do here? You want to change the data. If you want to change the data, what kind of commands we need to apply? DML command. In the DML, which command we are going to apply? Update command. So for that reason, so I'm giving it as, tell me the syntax of update.
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 Table name.
Apply table.
Set. Value.
Department ID is equal to 100. What next?
Where condition.
Where department ID is
Null.
okay. Now tell me when we need to go for this query, when we need to go for this query. This query, if you want to change the data in the table directly, then we need to go for this update query only. But if you want to display the data, then what we can do here, we need to go use the query called as a select query by using the case statement or select query by using the union operator. By depending on your convenience, either we can go for union operator or we can able to use the case statement for the purpose of achieving our requirement. Okay. Now, as part of this whole example, what we are doing, we are converting null values to not null values only. Now, in the database side, as per the requirement, whenever you want to convert null values to not null values, then we can use coalesce statement. So indirectly, I'm introducing one more new topic called as a coalesce. So this is the one more keyword we need to remember. So when we need to go for the coalesce statement, as per the requirement, whenever you want to convert any null values to the not null values, and in the situation, what we can do here, we can able to use the keyword called as a coalesce keyword. With the help of the coalesce keyword, what we can do, we can able to convert null values to not null values. Okay. Now here, if you want to see the syntax, it's very simple syntax, and we can give it as coalesce of column 1, column 2, column 3. Like this, you can able to pass any number of columns. And this is the syntax of your coalesce function. Coalesce of column 1, comma, column 2, comma, column 3. Like this, you can able to pass any number of values. But here, main thing we need to understand here is how this coalesce function is going to work in the internal database system. How it will work in internal database system. What is the purpose of coalesce? I'm telling. To convert null values to not null values, we can able to use the coalesce statement, and syntax is just we have to give it as a coalesce of column 1 comma column 2 comma column 3, like this. You can able to pass any number of columns by depending on your requirement. But if you want to write the syntax, or if you want to understand the coalesce, first we need to understand how it is working in the internal database system. And now see, for example, here I'm having column 1, I'm having column 2, I'm having column 3. Now in the column 1 we are having null, here I'm having not null, and here I'm having not null. For example, in the table I am given the 3 columns. In the first column is having null value, second column is having not null value, third column is having the not null value. Now I'm giving it as a coalesce of column 1, column 2, column 3. So what I'm doing here, I'm giving it as a coalesce of column 1 comma column 2 comma column 3 and D. Now when we are giving like this, what will happen is, whatever the column is having first not null value, that column data will display on output. So what I'm telling here, in the coalesce statement, we can able to pass how many columns, and you can able to pass any number of columns by depending on your requirement. But whenever we are applying the coalesce function by using the multiple columns also, what is going to happen? Whatever the column is having first not null value, that column data only will be coming on top of your output. To understand the statement only, I'm typing all this information here. Now see here, what I'm giving, coalesce of column 1 comma column 2 comma column 3. In the column 1, what we are having? Null. Column 2, not null. Column 3, not null. Now how coalesce is going to work in the internal database system? Whatever the column is having first not null value, that column data will be coming in the output screen. Now you tell me, as per the statement, if I'm going to run this coalesce statement, now it is given the output as a column 1 or column 2 or column 3.
Column 2.
Whatever the column is having first not null value, that column data will be coming in the output. Now out of these 3 columns, and which column is having the first not null value? Column 2 is having the first not null value. For that reason, it is given the output as a column 2 data on top of your output screen. Okay. Now for example, I'm having data like this. Now tell me, what is the output of coalesce of column 1 comma column 2 comma column 3?
Column 3.
Whatever the column is having the first not null value, that column data will be coming. Now out of these 3 columns, which column is having the first not null value?
Column
Column
1.
Column 1. So what will happen? It will display the column 1 data on top of your output. Now in the same way, for example, I'm having not null, not null, not null. All are having not null. Now whatever the column is having first not null value, all are having not null. But which column is having first not null? Column 1. So what will happen here? It will give output as a column 1. Now for example, now
Column 3.
Column 3.
column 3, because first 2 columns are null, but third column is having the not null. That's the reason it is given the output of the third column only. Now one last example, null, null, null. Now
We have to give the number at the end.
the output as a null only. So because I am what is my requirement? I want to convert null value to not null value. I am given the 3 columns, but all the 3 columns are having the null values only. Then what will happen? You are going to get the output also the null value only, which is nothing but, for example, here, instead of giving the statement, I'm giving the query like this. I'm adding comma 10, for example, just for understanding, and I'm giving it as a coalesce of column 1 comma column 2 comma column 3 comma 10. I am giving a hard code value in the coalesce statement. Now on top of this row, if I'm going to execute this function, what is the output we are going to get? Any guesses? Column
It will
1
give
null,
10.
column 2 null, column 3 null. But coming to fourth value, what I mean, I given the hard code value, which is 10 and now tell me, 10 is the null value or not null value? 10 is the not null. Okay, indirectly in the coalesce statement, if you want, you can give the column names. Otherwise, you can able to give the hard code values also. Now in this example, all columns are having the null value. Now coming to fourth value, we given the value as a 10. 10 is the not null value. For that reason, what will happen? It will give output as a 10 on top of your output. Overall, we need to understand, whenever we are using the coalesce function, what is going to happen? Whatever the column is having first not null value, that column data will be coming on top of your output screen. And what is the main purpose of the coalesce function? That is important, right? What is the main
Converting
purpose?
nulls to not nulls.
Simply we can able to say whenever you want to convert any null values to the not null values by depending on the requirement. In the situation, simply we can able to use the function called as a coalesce function. Now you try to give the answer to achieve the above requirement. Can we able to use the coalesce function or not? In the above requirement, what we are doing? We are converting null values to not null values as per the requirement only. Now you try to give the answer. In this requirement, can we able to use the coalesce function to write our SQL statement? Yes or no? What is the requirement? Convert all null values to not null values. Whenever you want to convert null values to not null values, can we use the coalesce or not? Definitely we can able to use the coalesce statement. But what is the query we have to prepare here? Tell me the answer. Select. First column is EAD column, because for EAD column we don't have any requirement only. I want to get the same data into the EAD column. For which column we are having the requirement? DAD column. Now you try to give the answer how we can able to apply the coalesce statement in this SQL query.
Coalesce DID.
Coalesce of DAD column. If DAD is null, then what data you want to populate?
100.
I want
100.
to populate 100. Just give it as a DAD comma 100. Indirectly in this example, in the coalesce statement, how many columns or how many values we are passing? Only 2, because my requirement is if DAD is null, I want to get value as a 100. That's the reason in this coalesce function, just I'm giving it as a DAD comma 100 as department ID from employee table. This is the way also we can able to frame the query, and just we'll try to understand how this query is going to execute. This is the data. Now coming to EAD column, we are not applying any kind of requirement. You are going to get the data as it is into the EAD column. Now coming to DAD column, what is going to happen? We are given the coalesce of DAD comma 100. This is the data in the DAD, and we are giving it as a 100. Now coalesce of DAD comma 100. Now you tell me, coming to first record, what is going to happen? Coalesce of null comma 100. What is the output of coalesce of null comma 100?
100.
100. What about the second record? Coalesce of null comma 100. 100. Third record? Null comma 100 is nothing but it will give the first not null value. That's the reason it's giving output as a 100. What about third record? Fourth record, sorry. 20 comma 100. 20 is a not null value. 100 is a not null value. Now which value it will display? First not null value. For that reason it is giving output as a 20. What about last record? 30. So this is the way simply you can understand how this query is working in the internal database system. And so this is the way simply within the single line statement you can able to write the query. If you observe here, for the same requirement, how many approaches we are following? First one, by using the union operator. Second one, by using the case statement. Third one, same requirement we can able to achieve by using the coalesce function also. Earlier I told you, right? Same requirement we can able to achieve by using the different ways by using our analytical skills. But tell me, out of all these 3 approaches, what is the simplest approach? Obviously, we can able to say by using the coalesce function. It is very simple to achieve the requirement. Now, for example, if you know about the coalesce statement, then do we need to go for this option? It's not required, right? No need to write this much of query, no need to apply the union operator. Simply within the single line statement only, you can able to achieve the requirements only. But if anyone is going to ask the question, without using the coalesce statement, how we can able to achieve the same requirement? What we can able to say? By using case. Without using the case statement, without using the coalesce function, I want to achieve the same requirement. Then what we can able to say? Then we can able to say we can go with the union operator. So same requirement, just we are trying to understand different approaches how we can able to achieve the requirement. In parallel, we are trying to understand. We are recapping the union operator. We are recapping is null. We are recapping is not null. And we are discussing the new concept called as a case statement. And we are discussing new concept called as a coalesce statement. And like this, with the single example, we are trying to understand multiple topics as part of this session. Okay. Any questions so far? Please ask me again.
Sir, instead of coalesce, we are having alternate keywords also, right? Like if null or NVL.
That we'll discuss. So far we are using the coalesce. So other than coalesce, we are having the NVL also. By using that also, you can able to achieve the requirement.
Sir, give one more example to coalesce.
Okay.
You so want to before that, actually yesterday you have given assignment, right? So in some of the questions, when I was retrieving the data, the query is correct, but the output I'm getting is not in the order wise.
That we'll discuss separately. Okay.
Okay.
If someone is asking one more requirement, just we'll see the same requirement, whatever we discussed already. Okay, now see for example, so this is the employee main table. We are having total 7 records. As we discussed earlier, if I'm giving select EAD comma salary plus commission. As total cell from employee table. What is the output we are getting here? The total salary for the 7th record we are getting output as a null. Now my requirement is here I don't want to get the null. I want to get output as the same 70,000. Now you try to give the answer how we can able to achieve the requirement. Already we discussed about the same query by using which operator? By using the case statement. We discussed about how we can able to solve this requirement and but now my question is without using the case statement I want to achieve this requirement. Now you try to give the answer. Select EAD column as it is, no issues. But what about salary plus commission? Coalesce, okay.
Coalesce salary plus commission.
Salary plus commission.
As
No, but tell me. So I'm just typing the remaining part of the query. That coalesce statement is correct or wrong?
wrong,
sir.
because
70,000 we have
need,
tried.
in
Comma 70,000.
comma we can write sal.
Sal plus coalesce of commission.
Com
We'll do one thing. 1 second. Just multiple people are giving the multiple answers. We'll write everything here. So someone given this answer. Okay, any other answers?
This is sal plus coalesce of commission.
Okay. Somebody is saying sal plus coalesce of commission. Okay, any other answers?
comma
Coalesce. So, coalesce of
we can
commission, comma 0,
Sal.
and close it and plus sal.
yes 0.
Okay. Offline people, any answers from you? Or any vote for out of these 3 answers?
The first one only, salary plus commission, comma, salary.
Salary plus commission, comma salary. Which is nothing but this is the different query again. Okay, 4th query. Any other answers? Okay, we'll go one by one only. So coming to first query, what's happening? We are given the directly coalesce of salary plus commission. Indirectly in this coalesce function, how many values we are passing? Only single value. Salary plus commission is nothing but it is taking the single value. Now coming to first record, it is given the 1 lakh. Second record 2 lakhs. Third record is 3 lakhs. Or we'll see here. First record is giving 11,000, 22,000, 33,000, 44,000, 55,000, 66,000. But coming to last record, what is happening? Coalesce of salary plus commission, nothing but coalesce of null. What is the output of coalesce of null? Coalesce of null. What's the output?
Null only.
It is giving output as a null only, which is nothing but this is the correct query or wrong query? This is wrong query. What about this one? I'm giving salary plus coalesce of commission only. But tell me, what is the syntax of coalesce of commission here? Coalesce function. We have to give the multiple columns. So for example, here I'm giving the only single column. Coming to salary, what values we are having? We are having all these values plus coalesce of commission is nothing but first record coalesce of 1,000. What will happen? It will give the 1,000. Coalesce of 2,000, 2,000. Coalesce of 3,000, 3,000. But what is the coalesce of null?
Null.
It is given the null. Now if I am going to perform the salary plus null, what is the output? You are getting
Null.
output as a null only, which is nothing but is the correct or wrong?
Wrong.
It's wrong. Okay. What about this one? Salary, it is taking all the salary values. Coalesce of commission, comma 0. What will happen? In the commission, wherever we are having null, it will convert this value as a 0. Then 70,000 plus 0, what will happen? You are getting output as a 70,000. Now tell me, is the correct query or wrong query?
Correct.
This is the perfectly correct query only. So this query will give the proper output. What about this one? Coalesce of salary plus commission, comma salary as total salary from employee underscore main table. What about this one?
That is also correct.
If I'm given the
Correct,
salary plus
correct.
commission, what will happen? It is giving all these values as output. Now coming to last record, we are given the null comma salary. If you see here, salary plus
Salary
commission comma
will-
salary, which is nothing but for the last record, it is taking it as a null comma 70,000. What is the meaning of null comma 70,000? It is
70,000.
giving output as a 70,000, which is nothing but we can able to say this is also the correct query. And out of all these 4 queries, we can able to say this is the correct query and this is also the correct query. But first 2 are giving the wrong output. So to achieve the above requirement, this one. I think we discussed in the SQL side. Yeah, to achieve the same requirement, earlier we discussed about how we are going to use the case statement and but instead of using the case statement, what we can do here, same requirement we can able to achieve by using the coalesce function. Just I will try to run the query here like this. I'm giving salary plus commission, comma, cell. See what's happening? It is given the same output only for the null. Instead of giving the null, it is giving output as a 70,000. This is the way simply we can able to understand how we can able to use the coalesce function whenever you want to replace any null values with the not null values directly or indirectly. Here, as part of doing the summing operation, I want to convert the null to not null, and for that reason, here also if you want, we can able to apply the coalesce function. Okay. Now finally, what is the main purpose of the coalesce? That's the main topic again.
Convert.
To convert
Converting
null values to not null values, we need to go for the coalesce function. What is the syntax of coalesce? Coalesce of, we can able to pass any number of columns by depending on the requirement. But if you are given the 2 columns or 3 columns or 1000 columns also, how it is going to work? Whatever the column is having the first not null value, only that data will be coming on top of your output. To understand that, just given this table and so with this we can understand how we can able to convert the null values to not null values by depending on our requirement. Okay. Any questions so far? Again, please ask me.
Sir, is it possible to populate different values using coalesce statement?
No, so someone is asking the question, by using the coalesce function, can we able to populate the different values for the different rows? And it's not possible, because if I'm given the commission comma 0, what will happen in that column? Wherever we are having null values, for all those null values, we are assigning the value as a 0 only. For example, your requirement is for few rows you want to give the 0, for few rows you want to give the 100, for few rows you want to give the 200. Then what we have to do? Someone is asking the question, by using the coalesce function, can we able to populate the different values? Someone is asking, and which is nothing but for few rows I want to populate 100, for few rows I want to populate 200, for few rows I want to populate the 300. Is it possible by using the coalesce? No. But how we can able to achieve that requirement?
Case.
Then we can go for the case statement. For which rows you want to populate 100, for which rows you want to populate the 200, for which rows you want to populate the 300. Indirectly, for different set of the rows you want to populate the different set of the values. And in the situation, what we can do again, we can go for the case statement. Is it clear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions so far? Okay. If no question, Andy, that's all for today. And actually, yesterday I sent the second assignment. Just 5 minutes I will take. I sent second assignment. Hope you people started the work on this. So by when you are planning to submit the assignment, any date? Tomorrow class. Okay. Tell me, tomorrow you want class or not? Independence Day, no? Everyone is a patriotic person, I can understand. Okay, I will do one thing, Andy. By afternoon 3 p.m., I will give the confirmation to you. Okay. Even if you're going to have the class, we'll take it as a only online class. It's fine, right? We'll take it as an online class. If I'm going to take the class, for example, if no class, I will conduct one-on-ones. Okay, so day before yesterday I conducted for 12 people only. So for remaining people, I need to conduct the one-on-one. Okay, if there is the class, definitely it should be the online class. If it is no class, what I will do here, I will conduct the one-on-one. How I can able to conduct? For offline people, anyhow, I'm taking it in the offline. For online people, our admin team will call you. Then you need to join Zoom link. Through the Zoom link, we can able to have the one-on-one session. For online people. Offline people, anyhow, I'm taking it from the offline only. So tomorrow, if I'm not going to take any class, then what I will do here, I will conduct the one-on-one. With that, I can able to complete the one-on-one for the online people. If I am going to take the classes, then what I will do here, I will take the online classes only, but this confirmation I will give to you by 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. Don't send the messages continuously. Definitely, I will give the confirmation to you folks in the Telegram group. Is it fine? Okay. Then what about the second assignment? By when you can able to complete this? After Independence Day, no? Okay, try to complete it by Wednesday end of the day only. So today, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or if you want, you can take that till Thursday also, your wish, but complete it. Take your own time, but try to complete this activity only. Because so there are given the multiple tables to you need to create the tables, you need to define the structure of the table, and you need to prepare the queries for all the tables. I know it will take some amount of time. So that's the reason. So try to complete it by Thursday, end of the day. Okay. And one more thing, if anyone noticed yesterday, so other than assignment, what I have sent? I sent the
SQL
handouts.
database handouts.
Yeah, how many people got the chance to look into the handouts? Two problems only. One is if you am given the handouts, people are not getting the time to see the handout. If you have not given the handouts, people are raising the questions or where is the handouts. Okay, I send the handouts to you. So how many people are gone through the handouts?
I gone through, sir.
Very good. Yeah, why I'm asking that question is actually in the handout, you are not going to see any kind of new information. And not only this handout, if you are going to see any handout, I given the handout for the GCS and I given the handout for the cloud computing, whatever we are discussing in the classes, just I'm putting the similar kind of content in the better detail way. And every day I'm sending the notes to you. And in parallel that we are giving the handouts also to you. In parallel, you are getting the videos also to you. And by using all these things, you should be in the position of what? You should be in the position to understand everything in the proper and better way. And don't come and say, sir, I'm not understanding the classes, or I'm not understanding anything. And because in the classes, multiple times I'm asking the question, any questions, first thing. Second thing, for every class, whatever we're discussing, I'm typing everything in the notes and I'm sending the notes to you. Third thing, in the handout, we are capturing all the content, whatever we're discussing, that handout also I'm sending it to you. And fourth one, we are sending the videos on the daily basis. So you need to go through all these things and indirectly, from our side, don't think that again, SAR is given the lot of content, we are not getting the time to understand. So two problems will come to the picture. And some people will take it in the positive way. SAR is given the lot of content by using all this content, which is nothing but by using the notes, by using the handout, by using the examples, or by using the videos, I can able to get the more knowledge. Some other people will think that, what they will think? SAR is given the more content, he is sharing the test file, he is sharing the handout, he is sharing the videos, which one I need to go through? Some people get this kind of questions also. And why we are sending all this? For your benefit only. If anyone not understanding anything in the class, you can able to refer the notes, or you can refer the handout, or you can refer the video. Other than these things, other than all these things, if you are looking for any other kind of option, please let me know. Only these are the 4 different options we are having from our side: sharing the test file, sharing the handout, sharing the videos, sharing the examples. Other than these 4 things also, still if you are facing any kind of issues, please let us know. We'll see, is there any possibility to take the action item on such kind of things. Okay, why I open this document here is, if you see from the session 1 onwards only, what we discussed, what is a database, what is a table, DDL, DML, DCL, DRL, and DDL comments, all these topics we discussed. What is the data dictionary? Whenever we are going to create the tables, what will happen? That entire structure will store into the system tables only. Instead of calling it as a system table, if you want, we can call it as a data dictionary. What is the system table name?
INNODB.
INNODB underscore table. That is nothing but our one of the system table, or we can able to call it as a data dictionary. Everything, whatever we discuss in the classes, every example, every point you can able to see on top of your handout. Sometimes some points might be will miss, but don't come back and give the complaint. Sir, you mentioned this point in the class, but you forgot to include that in the handout. Don't come and give that kind of complaints, because sometimes some points will miss, but most of the points will cover as part of your handouts. Okay. In the same way, in the second session, what we discussed, how to create the table, constraints of the table, and what is the structure of the table. All these topics we covered. And next we discuss about alter, drop, insert, how to create the backup table. How many ways we can able to create the backup table? 3 different ways. Okay, approach 1, approach 2, approach 3. Like this, I covered each and everything as part of my handouts only. Please try to utilize it in the proper way. I know in other institutes what they are doing, they won't give the notes, they won't give the handouts, only they will give the videos only. But tell me, by seeing only the videos, can you able to understand everything? No, right? You need to go through the notes, you need to go through the handout, you need to go through all the examples, whatever we are discussing in the class. In parallel, utilize the video also. With that, you can able to get the end-to-end knowledge about each and every topic, whatever we are discussing in the classes. Okay. Now, why we are doing all these things? For our benefit or for your benefit? It's a mutual benefit only. First thing, definitely for your benefit. With all these things, what will happen? You can able to get the perfect knowledge. Once you are going to get the perfect knowledge, what will happen? You can crack the interviews. Once you are going to crack the interviews, you will get the job. Once you are going to get the job, what you will do? You will give the reference for new people. With that, number of people will increase for our classes. With that, our revenue also will increase. Then that is the benefit for us, and it's a kind of a two-way benefit. But mainly I can able to say this is more beneficial to you compared to us, and if you're not sharing all these things also, people will come and join the classes. But try to utilize all these things in the proper way. Try to get the knowledge, try to crack the interviews, and try to get the jobs. Okay, and whatever the assignments I'm giving, please complete all those assignments on time. With that, we can able to get the good hands-on for each and every topic.
Sir,
Okay.
I have one doubt, sir.
1 second, Andy. So that's all for today, Andy. If anyone want, you can leave for the day. Tomorrow session will give the confirmation in the Telegram group. Okay, online people, that's all for today. If anyone have the questions, please stay here. Otherwise, remaining people can able to drop. Yeah, please continue. Somebody is asking the question.
Sir, computer engine, it is getting charged, but I have resumed